Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets potentially signing James Harden this offseason in free agency. This idea is crazy, and I think that the potential of this happening is absolutely probably like 5%. But I thought of this idea when the Rockets traded for Kevin Durant. I'm like, I would love to see this happen, but it's like there's no chance it happens. But I'd love to see the Rockets bring back James Harden and pair him with Kevin Durant. Look, I have this old teacher that is a huge Rockets fan that I had in sixth grade. And I keep touch with him, and we talk about basketball all the time. We talk about the Rockets, and when we were texting about the Kevin Durant trade, I brought the trade up to him, and he said that it was a crazy idea, and that brought the idea of the Rockets signing Harden up to I brought it up to him, and he thought it was a terrible idea. And I thought, well, I think that it would, if this was the old Harden, the Harden that played with Houston from the 2012 season to 2020 season, I'm gonna call him this, the selfish James Harden, who was all about him I think Harden, just my opinion, Harden has grown a lot as a person and a player since he left Houston, in my opinion, because he has played on teams where he is not that number one guy. He goes to Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie. He's that number three guy. He goes to Philly. He's that number two guy, but then there's that emerging star in Tyrese Maxey, where he might be the third guy instead of the second guy. Then he goes to LA, and he's that third guy next to Paul George and Kawhi when those two guys are healthy, even though that was rare. And then this season, you see this transformation with Harden, where and I really enjoyed watching with Harden this year, where his chemistry with his teammates were unbelievable this year with the Clippers, and did such a good job this year facilitating the ball and moving the ball around this year for the Clippers. And I'd love to see that with this Rockets team. Now you're wondering, how would the Rockets sign James Harden? James Harden does have a player option of $36 million this free agency that he can either opt in and stay with the Clippers and make $36 million next season, or he can opt out and try free agency. We'll see what Harden does, but I was thinking maybe if Harden opts out, the Rockets could go sign him. But the problem is the Rockets are nearing trying to sign an extension to Kevin Durant, sign a affordable extension with Fred VanVleet. You've got guys like Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason who are nearing that time around of getting contract extensions. Hopefully this offseason that happens with Tari and Jabari. If the Rockets didn't have so much money to spend this offseason of a potential Durant extension, a VanVleet extension, Tari and Jabari, I would think this signing would be possible, but since the fact the Rockets have so much money to spend this offseason, I don't think it is possible. But I'd love to see James playing with the Rockets team. I think it would be like I said, and I said this to my friend who's now we've turned into friends, used to be my teacher, but he's so into basketball. Really when he was my teacher, we'd talk more about basketball than we would talk about world cultures. That was the subject I was in his class. I think that old Harden would not be able to come into Houston and join this team and be able to take the backseat, because that's what he's doing. Because Kevin Durant's that number one guy. At times, Şengün might be more prioritized, and Min might be more prioritized than Harden. I think most likely he probably stays in LA. That's where he's probably comfortable these last couple years. But I don't think Harden would. I think Harden would potentially be open to it, in my opinion. I had someone that said to me when I brought up this idea to another friend, he said, why would Harden want to do that? He might still have beef with some of the people in the organization. And I said, well, the Rockets, they in 2023, the Rockets there were all these rumors, and after the 2022-23 season, going into the 2023 offseason, about the Rockets bringing in Harden. Harden wanted to come back to Houston and reunite with the Rockets, but Ime Udoka turned it down. Ime Udoka said that this team was not ready for winning yet, and he felt like that'd be unfair to James. And I think all of us Rockets fans can agree that James Harden, that this Houston Rockets team is ready for winning. they have Kevin Durant now. They have Amin Thompson and Alperen Şengün. Their young guys are so much more developed. Amin Thompson wasn't even drafted the last time James Harden was interested in returning to Houston. And so their team is so much more developed and ready to win now. This is that time where Harden could return to Houston and join with his former teammate Kevin Durant. There were no problems with Kevin Durant and James Harden in Brooklyn. And so I think that it would be nice to see them reunited another time, but I think it's very unlikely, like I said, mainly because of the extensions that the Rockets have to make this offseason of Van Vliet and, Durant and Tari and Jabari. So I think it's unlikely, but it was a fun idea. Let me know your thoughts on the Houston Rockets potentially signing James Harden. But I think to start all of this, James has to opt out of his player option, and I think that's unlikely. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out, go Rockets.